Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alex Schultz of Centuro Global, and I'm very happy to be joined today by my colleague Sam Cairns. We're here to talk about the government's newly launched and long-awaited immigration white paper. Now, we had previously intended that this session would be a preview of what would be in the white paper, because we, like I think most of the media, from what I could tell, had anticipated that the document would be released at some point later in the week, but the government have got there before us, and I'm sure some of you will have heard the Prime Minister giving his press conference earlier this morning to launch the paper. Instead of a preview, we are going to be offering a bit of a flash analysis of the white paper, which we have both spent the morning working our way through. And we're going to be looking at it specifically through the lens of how it will impact private sector employers in particular. So the headline change is that the eligibility threshold for the skilled worker visa, which is the cornerstone visa route for the UK migration system as a whole, the eligibility criteria is to be raised to an RQF level 6. So that equates to a bachelor's degree. So that means that, in effect, you can only hire from overseas using the skilled worker visa for graduate level roles. Now, this was raised from the previous threshold of A-level equivalence. And as per the white paper, limiting this route in this way will remove around 180 occupations from the eligible occupation list for the skilled worker visa. Now, there will be some provisions made for lower skilled jobs below the RQF level 6 benchmark. They will only qualify for short-term visas in areas that have proven evidence-based shortages as defined by the Migration Advisory Committee. And that will only be the case if employers commit to training UK staff and I believe submitting proof that they have a workforce plan in place to do so.
But there are sort of 4 current immigration routes which the Home Office seem to have picked up on in this white paper, in that they're looking to encourage more utilization of. They are the Global Talent Visa, the Innovator Founder Visa, High Potential Individual Visa, and also the UK Expansion Worker Visa under the Global Business Mobility Stipulation. Now, in the white paper, the Home Office, sort of just to pick up on the global talent point, it's clear that the Home Office are looking to try and build this idea and system of a very highly qualified, high talent system. So to desensitize, I guess, what you'd call lower qualified occupation codes that are currently in the skilled worker route, and incentivize more individuals to come under those highly qualified, high talent routes, particularly the global talent visa. So just to pick up on that, what the Home Office have said about the global talent is that they're looking to make it simpler and easier for top scientific and design talent to use the global talent visa. The specifics on that haven't been confirmed yet, but it's likely that when and if implemented, the guidance will change to accommodate what the Home Office have said in the white paper. In addition to that, as part of that, the Home Office are looking to increase places to their scheme for research interns, including in particular those working in the field of artificial intelligence. I'm sure we're all well aware of AI. It's in the news all the time. The Home Office have picked up on that. They note that the way to build this high-tech economy that they're looking for is to introduce and encompass that AI technology. That's where the global talent visa will become fundamental, getting those high-tech AI engineers, AI design engineers across to the UK, wherever they may be from. So just sort of looking at that in a bit more detail, it's quite an underused route.
They're trying to get employers to view themselves, this is my read at least, to view themselves as sort of contributors to a national strategic story. You know, this is all going hand in hand with an industrial strategy, which we've been hearing a lot about the last few months, but which they intend to kind of launch with yet another white paper sometime in the summer. So there is a shift towards a strategic economic framework that employers must kind of situate themselves within. And we see this very tangibly in the fact that employers will have to, in order to access the time limited kind of shortage list, they will have to submit their own workforce strategy for how they are going to upskill domestic British talent. And so this means that the right to employ from overseas will be a right that comes with certain obligations and responsibilities that perhaps were always there originally, but certainly far less pronounced in how people understood their ability to navigate the visa system.
I mean, as we know, and probably seen in the news, like Alex said, the Home Office have been beefing up compliance checks. We know there's a greater sort of requirement now when even submitting to find certificate of sponsorship applications. You know, there are more requests coming in across the board for additional documentation, for interviews for individuals. The Home Office are cracking down on businesses not deemed compliant or deemed uncompliant, with their sort of regulations. So it is something definitely to keep track of, you know, this increased scrutiny on compliance. You know, I'm sure we'll get greater sort of details about how the specifics of this will be carried out, but we know the Home Office are taking a far stricter line on compliance checks across the board. So, you know, something that your employees, you know, your employer, etc., need to be well aware of, to make sure that with this new system coming in, these new rules coming in, you are fully compliant to avoid those compliance penalties, which in some cases can lead to the revocation of a sponsor license, which is detrimental in a very significant way to most businesses.